Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz team as we get underway with a bit of another part of the European leg of the journey. We're into France to start this week off, followed by Belgium tomorrow and then Monza on Thursday. We're going to pick up a build time upgrade for our reliability facility because we really need to get going on getting these upgrades done, so we don't have to replace any parts by the end of the season. And there's one of the parts completing already. A bit of a team building exercise going on. PR filming with Lando Norris. And we're going to go all the way down to the race there and on to practice, where once again, you guessed it, we'll be trying to grab as many resource points as possible because we really need every upgrade apart from the gearbox, because for whatever reason we have 4 of them, and generally speaking the reliability on them is pretty nice as well. There's also some manufacturer reliability parts coming from Honda Red Bull powertrains at some point. Could be this race, it might be one of the next couple of them, but again, that just helps out massively with the reliability of some of the parts. Not had too many performance ones come through though, but there was an issue I think with Season 3 where we just were continuously stuck and never getting the final upgrade for the Honda power unit, which was mildly frustrating to put it lightly, especially when all of the cars were of similar performance and it wasn't very easy to outperform them in a straight line. Anyway, on to practice 3 now. Just going to try and pick up these last few points. There's another 60. And then we're kind of torn between what we want to do next. Another 60 points. Let's go for it. Another failure. You saw we already failed on 2 of those MG UK upgrades just now. Go for the 50%. We do get it, but that is the end of practice. And here are the performance graphs with Alfa Romeo, Audi, Haas jumping up around Mercedes, with Williams and Aston Martin still at the bottom. Right then, here we go for the French Grand Prix. Should be an interesting one. No rain at the moment, at least not according to this intro graphic that we've got going on here. We really do not want rain, ideally. Thankfully, last season, we did have a few spots throughout most of the Grand Prix, but we didn't have to come in pretty wet tyres. Let's hope it stays the same way again. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know when all of these races are uploaded. And well, we're about halfway through the season right now, so we've got to find out who's going to win this thing. We'll find out in 2 weeks time when F1 23 comes out, or just before. Anyway, onto the starting grid. Unsurprisingly, Lando Norris is on the front row, but he is joined this time by Fernando Alonso in the McLaren. Behind them, we have Max Verstappen, and then we are there in 4th. Charles Leclerc and Robert Schwartzman. Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll. Running at the top 10, we have George Russell with Théo Pourchaire at his home Grand Prix, followed by the other 2 Frenchmen, Gasly and Ocon, Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda. Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz, Mick Schumacher and Alex Albon, Dan Ticktum and Joe Guan Yu, and finally it's Nicholas Latifi and Kevin Magnussen, who starts at the back with a penalty for this Grand Prix. Interestingly, that all of the French drivers managed to qualify around each other. Should make for an interesting battle, especially with Gasly and Ocon being together. There's the previous points scored by the pole sitter Lando Norris. And there is an Alpine, a French car, but not the French driver. That is, in fact, Lance Stroll. The giveaway being his Aston Martin helmet still being attached to his head. And, well, let's get on with this race. Right then, Grand Prix time. We've only got 3 places to take away from the drivers in front of us if we want to get onto the top step of that podium. And away we go. It's not a great start for Charles Leclerc and Robert Schwartzman already getting the better of us before turn 1. We're going to have to dive down the inside of Schwartzman, try and go around the outside now and hope that Sergio Perez doesn't get involved. And now we're following Charles Leclerc side by side with Robert Schwartzman coming down towards this weird corner. We managed to get through this time without murdering the bollard on the inside. How about here? Yep, we run wide with a small lockup. All bollards safe for the time being. Lando Norris completely ruining his chances of winning this race by setting the medium tyre on his first stint. And look at the gap that Fernando Alonso has right now as we see Charles Leclerc coming up behind us. We go defensive, positioning just to the left of the racing line, give him as small room as possible. He is still fighting it, but has to close off his attempt as we shut the door on him. This was Norris at the start on the medium tyre, and you can see the difference there. He may have had a bad start anyway, but Fernando Alonso on the soft goes straight past him. Max Verstappen as well, if it weren't for that small slide there, would have been into second place as well. And this is what happened to us. So once again, awful start. We're passed by 2 drivers going down towards turn 1 up the inside of Schwartzman. There's Leclerc getting a little bit out of sorts and getting around Robert Schwartzman as well. And we know how the rest of that went. This is Pierre Gasly, end of lap 1 on Lance Stroll. Hits George Russell there. And, well, I think now we know what was going on. The French were fighting the English in the lower 8 reaches of the top 10, and it would appear as though Pierre Gasly did lose that one. The other 2, Esteban Ocon and Théo Pourchaire, 10th and 11th right now. We're coming in on lap 4, a little early, I would have thought, although Pierre Gasly's the only other one to come in. Oh, Russell's in as well now, but yeah, other than that, just us 2 in for the mediums. We'll see how much ground we can make up. Hopefully try and get an undercut, as some weird shadow thing was going on with that man's helmet. So here we go. Lap 5. Has the outlap been good enough? You can see in the pit lane, the dots are beginning to move. And there is Verstappen and Alonso. So not a huge gap gains, although maybe to Alonso, considering he did have that amazing start. Lando Norris, unsurprisingly, is staying out for a little bit longer on his mediums, but he is in some clean air, which may be quite helpful to him. But look at this, we're right on the back of Max Verstappen now as we come round onto the DRS straight. He does get a better exit through that corner, but he's not got a DRS advantage here, so we're going to close up quite nicely onto the back of the Porsche Red Bull. Not enough for a pass though just yet. We'll have to come through this corner straight on the power of the ERS as we come down towards the flat right. A great opportunity for an overtake here as we go to the right hand side of Max Verstappen. No braking whatsoever as we sail around up the inside and take away P13. Going slightly too tight there over the curve, but other than that, we're pretty good. And up ahead, Fernando Alonso, who's now looking much closer, 0.4 of a second ahead of us. And are we going to line up for the same move there? Bit out of sorts actually on the exit there. That's not going to help our chances as we try and close in on this 2-time world champion. Still missed out twice during this whole career mode on becoming the world champion. Norris comes into the pits as well. So this is the crucial moment. Alonso remains in P3. It looks as though Sergio Perez is staying out on his mediums, but he started behind us anyway, so is more than likely going to end up going back there as well again. And we've got a yellow flag going on behind us. Not sure what's going on there. Looks like a Mercedes is pulling off to the side. We'll have to look at that in a moment. But here we go, down the pit straight. Norris is moving. He's getting his shift on, and he's going to come out ahead of Fernando Alonso. So he has managed to overcut him, but he's going to be on cold tyres now. Fernando Alonso is not going to be hanging around because he knows what is sat behind him. It is us. Unfortunately, Fernando Norris, slight bit of a strategy miscalculation, decided to go onto the hard tyre, having just done 3/4 of the race on the medium. Not the brightest of ideas there. We're going to get DRS, but we're not close enough on this occasion. What will Alonso do? He's going to go to the inside of Norris. He's got the move done, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Alonso, out of sorts, somehow didn't get that made just now and squeezes into the gap behind us. And he's just made himself super vulnerable. We've overtaken Max Verstappen at this same corner already. What's he going to do? Defend to the outside, but we lift off just because we aren't close enough Needed to get a little bit further alongside him to make that one work, so he just fly around in his mirrors for a little bit longer. If you could intimidate an AI, that is exactly what was going on right there. And it will come down to the same section again, break it a little early, just to be sure that he doesn't try anything weird. And again, onto the ERS we go. Still not quite there, but we're closing to the right-hand side. We just about get enough alongside him for him to break and back out of it and take away what is now P2, because Sergio Perez has come into the pits. Bit of a slide there on the second part of that double right-hander. Let's go ball with Alonso. Up the inside we go straight across him, and round we go. And Alonso does try and go up the inside there. There wasn't really a gap, but he did put in his best efforts. And just to confirm from earlier on, it was Théo Pourchaire who has retired from the race after his second race with Mercedes. The first one didn't go too well in Austria, got some contact early on, and was sat around at the back of the field for a while. And now at his home Grand Prix, he has to watch it from the sidelines. Yeah, Gasly, though, did recover somewhat. As we close in on the race leader, our teammate and sworn enemy, Lando Norris. Norris pretty much shared every win with us this season. No other team has won a race yet besides ours. And we go down the inside, and that will be crucial in closing up in the Drivers' Championship. That is excellent to see. That's a good 8 points advantage that we will claw away at his lead with that fastest lap in hand. As we come round onto the final lap now, Norris still just within DRS range, which is giving him a bit of a lifeline here to escape Alonso. Maybe we'll watch and see what he can do. Will Alonso make the move that he tried twice to make? Can he get past Lando Norris? We shall see. Max Verstappen also cannot be ruled out for a podium here. He is waiting for an opportunity behind Alonso. Maybe these two will come to blows, and Max Verstappen will pick up P2. Charles Leclerc, a little bit too far back to be considered in contention for this, unless there is a big pile-up. Anyway, Norris still hangs on there in DRS, in the DRS zone, able to pull himself along, and that may be the last opportunity that Alonso had. Perhaps as we come down towards the flat right, he's not even near being able to get past the BMW of Norris. Verstappen looks as though he's dropped even further back, so clearly there's a bit of a disadvantage for Red Bull somewhere with that car, maybe aero or chassis. And Norris, well, if this was at the end of the race, has managed to close up even closer than he was on the previous lap anyway, so Alonso would still not be able to get by. So we'll instead come around the final corner, power to the finish line, and across the line we go, picking up another win this season. BMW now securing a 10th win out of 10 races. It's disgusting. It's almost like we're Team Mercedes now, winning every single race. Will anyone be able to beat us? Will anyone other than me be able to beat Lando Norris without him having a mechanical or some kind of damage issue going on with his car? Well, we'll have to find out. Keep watching the series. 6 races to go, I believe, as we celebrate with the team coming onto the podium, copying Lando Norris, who I'm pretty sure learnt that from us anyway, and lifted the trophy for another Grand Prix victory. Fernando Alonso quite content with his third place. He knows that he can't win this championship, but maybe he can give it his best shot, as he's done in the previous 2. And here we are with the race results, and yes, we did in fact get the fastest lap. That's an 8-point lead we'll gain over Lando Norris. Behind us we had Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, George Russell, Robert Schwartzman, Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz. So over in the Drivers' Championship, we've now clawed to within 43 points of Lando Norris. Behind us, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez, Robert Schwartzman, Carlos Sainz, George Russell and Liam Lawson. Further down the order, we have Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon. Yuki Tsunoda jumps up to 14th ahead of Kevin Magnussen, and Alex Albon is the final point scorer. Oscar Piastri improves to 17th ahead of Nicholas Latifi, Teo Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Mick Schumacher and Dan Ticktum. And finally, over to the Constructors' Championship, BMW remain at the top of the table ahead of Red Bull, but McLaren have jumped up to third, just 3 points ahead of rivals Ferrari. Way further back are Mercedes in 5th, with Alpine, AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Audi and Aston Martin completing the field. That's all for this race. We'll catch you tomorrow for Belgium.